Hello and welcome to this subject-specific talk for mathematics. This video will also cover students who wish to do further mathematics. There won't be a separate video for further maths because all students who do further maths will obviously do mathematics in the first instance. So if you are looking to do both, please just watch this video and make sure that you complete the summer work for mathematics. To just go through the course, which has already been outlined to you, the school offers the Pearson or Edexcel exam board, and it's weighted in three different areas. So there are three equally weighted examinations at the end of year 13, and they cover three different skill sets. Now, what we'd expect you to do at this particular point is go on to the Edexcel exam website, and you can look at the A-level mathematics course. Alternatively, on Google you can type in 9MA0 and that will give you the specification, and make sure that you look for the one that is 2017 onwards. If you're looking for specific textbooks, or you're looking for things that can perhaps help with you for revision guides, if you go online onto something like Amazon and you use the Edexcel exam board as your reference point, that would be really helpful. There are, the other exam boards, AQA and OCR, there are obviously quite a degree of overlap, but it's really important that you get the specific exam board right for this. As I've already mentioned, the course is divided into three equally weighted units. So the first is your pure maths. So that's things that you will know about from GCSE level. So trigonometries, for example, you're going to start looking at it more from an advanced level. So how are we able to work out how far a galaxy or a star is away? We're using the principles of trigonometry for that. And in terms of algebra, you'll have a certain degree of understanding in that already. Calculus is that next step at A level. So it could be the case as well that if you're looking to go into maybe product design or architecture, that pure maths basis is incredibly important. The statistics is a component that you will have looked at for GCSE, but at A level now, you're now looking at how it can be applied to a real world context on a far greater level. So for example, currently the mathematicians that are involved for Public Health England and the Office of National Statistics in calculating the R rate for COVID-19 in the UK, they'll be using the same sorts of principles that you'll be developing at A-level study. So probability distributions, correlation, hypothesis testing. These are skill sets that hopefully will mean that you'll be able to look at some of the information that's presented on the news and in these briefings and be able to analyse it to a higher standard. And the final component that you look at is the mechanics. So that's about how the physical world operates. So if I place a ball on a hard floor, why does it roll in that particular way? Why does it roll in that particular direction? It's really the study of why the world around us looks the way that it does. And if you're somebody that's looking to do physics and mathematics, it can be incredibly useful. And that's usually why we say to students that do physics that it would be very helpful if you did mathematics as well, because the study of mechanics in the mathematics side really helps you out for physics as well. So you'll be looking at things like projectiles and forces, which obviously directly feeds into physics. Now, this is different to all of the other subject talks, because there is something that perhaps it'd be useful if you got over the summer holidays rather than waiting until September. When you go to study A-level mathematics, it's important that you have the right equipment with you, and this particular calculator or equivalent to the Casio ClassWiz FX991EX, you can buy it off Amazon, you can buy it from most retailers of stationery. You need to have a mathematical or scientific calculator. Things like your phones just won't do, and you can't necessarily use the GCSE calculator that you might have already had. What tends to happen in September is a lot of students don't know this or haven't necessarily read the guidance, and they spend the first 2 weeks either borrowing one or perhaps doing without and waiting until they can go home and use particular software. Particularly with everything that's going on at the moment about lending equipment and the Public Health England guidelines surrounding that, it would be really, really advantageous. We're almost stressing that you need to have it before September. Is this particular calculator? It will really put you in good stead. Let's go through the department then. It's a large department, the mathematics department. It's probably our largest in the school because it's the most popular A-level course. So we have Mr. Miners, who's head of maths, and you've got his contact details. If you've got any questions about the specific course, you've got Dr. Troff, who specialises particularly in further maths, and you've got Miss Allport, Mr. Nardella, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Narty, who are rounded in all of the areas and are trained up to a further maths standard as well. In terms of what's unique about the department is that the maths department, compared to all the other departments, has its own private workspace, which is the Maths Hub, and only maths students are allowed to go there. It's a large open plan area. It's next to the maths department, so if you've got any questions, you can always go and ask your teachers if they're on a break at that particular time. And really, that feeds into this overall idea that every day and really at any time there are formal or informal study supports which are available. The support that you'll be able to access from the maths department is really crucial, because if you're looking to do the subject at A-level, you'll know that if you're stuck on a particular problem, then that can cause you a headache and it can make it very difficult for you to advance to that next level. So it's really important that you access the support, and that support is available at OSH. In terms of entry requirements, it is slightly different to most other subjects. So it's important that you understand that in order to study A-level maths, you need to have had a grade 7 or higher in your GCSE maths to guarantee a place on the course. If you're looking to do further maths, you need a grade 8 or higher. Now that's different to the vast majority of subjects, but that comes after a few years of experience after the 2015 changes to A-levels, and the understanding that really, if you're getting a lower than a grade 7, you're going to find the course particularly difficult at A-level standards. So it might be the case that in August you haven't got that grade 7, and yet you're trying to say, I really want to study at A-level. Our advice, and the reason why we've got that entry requirement, is that the evidence generally suggests that if you don't have that grade 7, you're going to find it a very difficult 2 years to study. So it's there for your particular benefit. In terms of desirable traits, what we're looking for is students that are hard working. In terms of maths, there is you are going to have to put in the hours. You are going to have to work through those worked exercises. It is a subject that will require you to continually go over the work after and outside of lessons. And in all subjects, you'd be expected to do work outside of lessons, but with maths, there is a certain degree of repetitiveness that you need to have. So it's somebody that is going to persevere, that is going to be hard working, and is going to be motivated as well. There is this tendency to think about people that are naturally able to solve mathematical problems. And really, if you're getting a grade 7 or higher at GCSE, then we would expect you to have that natural ability to look at a problem and being able to think about strategies in which you can use to work that particular problem out. It would be advantageous as well, and it would be desirable if you're going above and beyond the requirements of the subject. There are plenty of different talks which are advertised by the department. There's plenty of different opportunities which are available in terms of maths challenges, and those are the kind of students that do well at the subject at A-level standard, the ones that aren't just necessarily going to lessons and passively absorbing information from the teacher. Where we have students that do mathematics, there tends to be a certain number of combination subjects that work well with maths. So if you have a look at some students that passed last year and have gone on to university or employment or apprenticeship schemes, you can see that subjects in the sciences, so your chemistry, your physics, your biology, they tend to link quite well with mathematics. And if you're looking for specific courses like Alex from this particular list, Alex Lyons, who wanted to do medicine, then having biology and chemistry is a must, but maths is advantageous because it will help you with biology and chemistry for the statistical side. Likewise, if you're looking to study a specific subject at university like physics or mathematics, it's obviously a requirement. And you can also see that in the case of Jeffrey and Dan, that economics has a certain degree of overlap with maths, and particularly econometrics. And so if you're looking for competitive economics courses at university, it's not a requirement to do maths, but it can be particularly helpful. Likewise, you don't have to go into doing any of those particular routes. Jeffrey, for example, is reading law. Maths is not a requirement for that, but it's something that all universities will look on favourably because it is a facilitating subject. So with maths, it's a subject that can combine with pretty much anything at all, but if you're doing something like physics, it would be really helpful to do maths as well. It complements well with subjects like computer science, biology, chemistry, and economics as well. But you can see, for example, that students here have combined it with geography or history, or psychology, which isn't necessarily a traditional complementary subject to mathematics, but certainly the skills that you develop in maths can help with all subject areas. So, with this summer that you've got coming up, we would expect you to do some work consolidating your GCSE materials. We'd expect you to broaden your subject horizons and try and find more out about mathematics. And we would also expect you to complete the bridging task, which the particular document there is attached as part of the materials that have been sent out for today. Consolidating GCSE work, you should perhaps have already got revision guides for your GCSE maths courses, and we would expect you to be looking over them, and there's some excellent guides as well that you can find online by companies such as CGP, where they've done a transition from maths at GCSE to A level, and you can start looking at specific work there. But what we would like you to do is to go onto mymaths.co.uk, and it might be the case that you've already got a login, which is fantastic. If you don't, you can have a look at the screen now, and you can see a username and password that you can use. We would suggest that on the left hand side you go to revision and assessment and select the GCSE booster pack, which is specifically designed for students that are looking to get grade 8s and grade 9. Now, there is a massive list on there of online lessons, activities that you can do, and you can get instant feedback on. Now, what you should try and do is not necessarily to cover every single topic. You should try and look through that list and find the topics that you're less familiar with, or the topics that you've struggled with in your GCSE studies, and try and pay attention to as many of those as you can, and try and work through as many of those exercises. If you would like to, you can also go on to Seneca Learning, and like I say, the CGP books, they're very cheap on Kindle. They were actually free for a short period of time during lockdown, but you can go on the Kindle version, and I think it's only a few pounds, and that might be useful to consolidate that GCSE material. As we said already, it would be useful for you to start thinking about how you can broaden your subject horizons in mathematics, particularly if you're looking to study the subject at undergraduate level, or if you're looking to get the very, very top marks, so your B's, your A's and your A stars. Now, the specific podcast that we'd recommend for this is there's a BBC Radio 4 series that was called, what is called A Brief History of Mathematics, and that's written by Marcus de Sotoy, and there's a whole host of different topics that you can look at, and it's really considering how maths can be applied in that real world. So it's particularly good for your statistics and your mechanics side, and we'd recommend that you pick and choose a few of those and have a listen. You can make notes as well whilst you're doing it. That's a good habit to get into before A-level study. There is a good series of podcasts from the University of Oxford. It's the Secrets of Mathematics series. There are a good range of lectures that you can look at that will give you a bit of flavour of maybe some of those pure topics that you haven't necessarily looked at yet, or that you want to expand further, because there's going to be a number of topics that are going to be completely alien to you. And so the more that you can have a look and see what else is out there, the better. Finally, there's a really good YouTube subscriber that you can go to called Mathologer, and what he particularly does is he focuses in on areas whereby, let's say that there's a specific way of solving a problem. He tries to look at the alternatives. So it's an alternative approach really to solving maths problems, or looking at maths from the traditional perspective. So I'd recommend having a look there, having a look at some of the videos. And again, it's not about looking at all the podcasts or looking at all of the YouTube videos, just taking some of them and getting a bit of a flavour, making a few notes from that. That's the kind of thing that we'd be certainly expecting in Year 12, and if you've got some weeks now to make a head start on that, that's a good habit to get into. Finally, the thing that we're asked after everybody to do is to complete the bridging tasks, which are essential for September. Now, that you've got the booklet, and that's available for you to have a look at and for you to read. When you enrol at the school after results day, what we do is we do say to all maths students that they must complete this particular booklet for the first week back. There's no problem though in making a head start on that, and I know a few people have already completed it. So that's the one thing which is essential for September that you must do. The other two things are an expected standard if you're looking to be a top A-level student. So if you've got any questions about the mathematics course, if you email Mr. Miners, and what I would suggest that you do whilst you're waiting for the next video is have a look at some of those podcasts, go online and see what you can find that maybe you can bookmark in ready for some summer work. Thanks very much for watching.